All right, the next form is a cone. And the reason I choose this cone for students to look at for this project and to demonstrate from, okay, is because it doesn't have a point on the top, right? It has that circle, just like the cone is based on, okay, on the top that relates directly, just like the cylinder did, okay, to the curve on the bottom, all right? So it really is going to allow us to apply a really similar process to the way that we built the cylinder to the cone. The only difference is that there's angles on the side of it instead of parallel lines, right? But what I'm going to show you is we're going to use that same technique of drawing the line of symmetry. We're going to draw the perpendicular lines for the curves on the top and the bottom, those ellipses, okay? And then we're going to talk about using a closed eye and your pencil, okay, to figure out, okay, or you could even just lay your pencil down in place like this if you have the object, right? Just to better assess what the angle is, okay? So if this is a flat line, okay, it gives you an idea as to how not flat it is. Okay, if it's just slightly off, right, this one's kind of somewhere in the middle. Okay, it's a little bit closer to flat, okay, than it is horizontal completely, right? But that will allow us to assess and to see maybe a little bit more clearly just by the way we hold our pencil what the angle is, right? So really similar to what we did with the cylinder, we're going to start with a line of symmetry. So a complete vertical. Just like that, right? And then we're going to add those perpendicular lines. I'm going to have a very small ellipse on the top here and a wider one down here. Okay, so again, perpendicular, the complete opposite direction. Okay, so these are 90-degree angles, right? Now, I'm going to start with my ellipse here that's centered right around those lines there, right? And then down here, I'm not going to draw that yet. Scratch that, right? Next thing I want to do is to create my angles of the sides, right? So when you're looking at the real form in your photograph, right, you can use that. You could actually put your pencil straight up to the screen, right? Or even on your phone if you're looking at it, right? That way you can assess, like I said, exactly how, is it close to flat? Is it a little bit off? In some cases, if it's a really steep angle, it might even be closer to horizontal, okay? So this, again, is just a generic one. So I'm just going to make up an angle, right? But what's going to be important is this line of symmetry, because this space here between this outer edge and the line of symmetry is going to be, it's going to need to be the same here. That way everything ends up symmetric, right? So this angle here is going to be really the reflection of this angle here. Okay, and again, no rulers, just practice drawing straight lines. Okay, for me, it's really helpful as I'm drawing the line, if I keep an eye on where my pencil needs to end up, okay? Because if you're just, it's really similar to the motion that you need for the circle, right? If you're just working in small pieces, it's hard to get an idea of what that whole thing looks like, right? So if you just take off in a certain direction here and don't really have the destination in mind, all right, it's gonna be wrong, all right? So if you can just learn to kind of loosen things up and get the motion. And it might help, just like we talked about motioning with your hand in the curve here, right? You might want to just give yourself kind of an imaginary, okay, this is the exact angle I need to draw here, all right? So then you can just pull it down and aim for the right spot, all right? All these things, even if they seem really awkward and strange in the beginning, all these things are going to get easier with practice, right? That's the whole purpose of this. Just like in the cylinder, this curve specifically, okay, it's part of this ellipse, but this curve here, we need to copy and paste, all right? Now here, it was a little bit easier because this and this are the same exact width, all right? Here, we need to take that curve and enlarge it. So that becomes a little trickier, right? So this overall ellipse, and this is where this might really help you to draw the whole ellipse down here, because you can tell exactly how flat that ellipse is. You hear my cat crying at my door. He doesn't like I close the door when I make videos. He may go away, he may not. He stopped, he knows I'm talking about him. Okay, so just like that. Okay, and then, like I demonstrated before, eventually we'll get rid of our lines, but don't yet. Okay, in your practice, leave them. That way you can remember your process. But even in the practice drawing that I'm going to ask you to do, okay, for the first step of this unit, right, I want you to leave those there, right? I want to see your work and your process. So I'm going to do another quick one. So a complete vertical. Let's make this a little bit wider. So I'm going to have more of a rounded ellipse in this case here. Right. Then I'm going to add in this distance is going to be the same. Again, eyeball it, it'll get easier. This distance here. Imaginary line turns into a rail line. Again, just like that. And then again, this oval here is going to relate to this oval down here. Okay, just like that.